All right, AJ, I think you and I are going to go head to head here because my best bet is bright and early. It's the Red River rivalry. And people listening to this podcast are probably, they know it already. If I said AJ and I going head to head, that means that I'm on Oklahoma and he's going to be on Texas. I'm going to take the points with the Sooners in this matchup. You could talk about last year all you want. Throw it out. Dillon Gabriel didn't play. This is a different Oklahoma team. I don't care about last year. I don't care about the blowout. What I do care about is that traditionally this game is pretty funky and could come down to the wire. I think this might come down to whichever team has the football last, if we're being honest. And if you told me that Texas was catching 6.5 points, I would take Texas in this spot. So the fact that you're giving me 6.5 points, and if the public comes in and bets Texas and I can get a 7, that would be great. But I'm going to take the points here with Oklahoma. Dillon Gabriel completing over 75% of his passes this year. He's thrown 15 touchdowns, only 2 picks. And we know this offense is legit. Defensively, Brent Venables is going to throw all kinds of blitzes at Quinn Ewers, and they are 10th in third down defense, 8th in the country in tackles for loss per game, 8.4 tackles for loss per game, which means if they can get in the backfield, they're going to create some havoc. Offensively, Dillon Gabriel, I mentioned, they're 6th in the country, Oklahoma is, in third down offense. And this is a revenge spot because of the blowout last year. And so we look at the data here, and the trend line shows us that since 2016, when you are playing with revenge on a neutral field, so this is a neutral field game. This is a trend that applies for like the big games on neutral fields, right? Neutral
cocktail
field
party,
yeah, exactly. Those type that when it's when they play in the Carolina, or they play, you're right, in Jacksonville, any of these, you play in Jerry's World, you play in the Cotton Bowl, these neutral site games, right? When you are an underdog playing with revenge, since 2016, 40-25 against the spread, that's 61.5%. I love the dog in this matchup. This is going to be a high intensity game, and I'm going to take the points with Oklahoma.
Yeah, I bet Texas at the open at -5.5. I was almost sure it was going to be 7 before I blinked, and it actually dropped to 5 for a minute, and then it jumped up here to 6.5. I'm not sure there's a market consensus, and maybe I'm not as maybe I'm higher on this Texas team than most. I think they've got an argument to be the best team in the country, at least on what they've done so far this season. They've got a better win than anyone in the country. They handled their business in their first 2 road games. People talked about Baylor and Kansas as kind of trap spots, but they just went out and played the same way they've played all year. And Ewers, whatever the changes that he talked about making in the offseason, like losing weight, cutting his hair, taking things seriously, it's worked. He's clearly more focused. He's clearly more poised. OU is going to get after him defensively. That's what Venables does. He is going to send pressure, but you know what? He's going to have to make some quick decisions, and that worked against Alabama. Oklahoma's D is super reliant on havoc and turnovers.
Yes,
and Texas is just not giving it away this season. Dillon Gabriel, you're right; he's been solid, but they've actually, most of Oklahoma's success has been running the ball, setting up, running the ball. I don't know that you're running against this Texas front. That to me, you mentioned last year's game. And one of the big differences from last year's game is Texas is so much better in the trenches than they were a year ago, and they were already better than Oklahoma there a year ago. It's funny you say we looked at. I think you can look at the Dillon Gabriel not playing thing in 2 ways. You can say, well, they beat him 49-0, but Dillon Gabriel didn't play, or you can say Dillon Gabriel's never played in this game. And with that comes a certain amount of pressure. If you think you know what it's going to be like, you don't. It is different than any game these guys play ever.
I don't know. The bounce house gets pretty loud, and he's got a ton of experience in the bounce house.
Yeah, but the bounce house is never half full of the opposing fans. That's the difference. And it is a wild environment. I've been to 15 of these things. It's a wild environment, man. It's unlike any other game I've ever been to.
I think if you take away the names of these teams and just looked at them statistically and analytically, Oklahoma would be favored in this game.
But I think the problem is you're looking at, you got to look at strength of schedule as well.
I understand that. I understand, but analytically, Oklahoma ranks higher. Oklahoma, and they're very close to each other. I'm not saying that this is like overwhelming. I'm saying like Oklahoma's ranked probably top 2 or 1, 2, and Texas is 4. If you look at everybody's, analytic power rankings and whatnot. But Texas is, Ewers is a Heisman candidate, and they're a machine right now. And I think that they rightfully deserve to be favored. I just don't think it should be this much. I really don't. This is a very, very competitive game, I think, between 2 of the top teams in the country.
All right. We'll find out on Saturday. That'll be a fun one. Early morning. Wake up, have some breakfast, and
I assume we get Gus Johnson and Joel Klatt, right?
It's
an ABC. No,
it is on ABC.
Game.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was looking forward to that.
Yeah. Sorry.
What's the Fox Big Noon kickoff this week then? Oh, Maryland, Ohio State. Yuck.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah. All right.
Hey guys, if you enjoy our content and want even more videos from pregame.com, hit that subscribe button right now. I promise you will not find better sports betting information anywhere else.